Hey, what's up everyone? John here from testprepinsight.com, and today I'm going to give you a head-to-head comparison of Rocket Languages and Mondly. It's been a while since I looked at these two programs side by side, and I've been using them both a lot recently, so I decided to do a detailed comparison video. I'll break down how they each work and where I see each app winning. And by the way, I should just mention up front here that since I'll just be focusing on higher level stuff in this video, if you find you need more detail at any point, you can always check out our full detailed written comparison of these two apps over on our website. An easy way to get there is just to Google Test Prep Insight, Rocket vs. Mondly. It's a quick way to find it. Alright, so as I usually do in comparing language apps, I'm going to provide a high level overview of how each program works before getting into all the individual pros and cons. I think this will help to set the stage. So let's start with Mondly. So the first driving force of the Mondly program is their daily lessons. Every day when you log in, you're given a daily lesson to do, and when you complete it, it'll be marked as finished on the dashboard, and a little countdown clock will start to indicate when the next day's daily lesson is ready. This daily lesson takes just 5 minutes or so to complete, and is basically a sequence of interactive, fast-moving exercises, including flashcard type drills, fill in the blanks, speaking drills, translation exercises, matching pairs, back and forth little conversations, spelling drills, and a few more. And then when you finish your daily lesson, Mondly gives you a quick recap of the vocab from the lesson by running you through the phrases one last time, and then it takes you to a screen with all of your performance data. Then after that, once you do your daily lesson, you're kind of on your own and free to continue working through supplemental lessons on the dashboard. And let me quickly explain that. So the Mondly dashboard looks like a giant map covered in geolocation pins. In a way, it kind of looks like a learning path, but it's a little less structured than that. Essentially, each geolocation pin is a collection of 8 lessons that covers a specific topic or theme, like sports or weather. And you can jump from pin to pin however you want to learn about these specific topics. There's no real order to these pins, and they really don't build on one another in terms of difficulty. It's more about what you want to learn about with each pin. And to be clear, these supplemental drills, I think it's fair to call them that, are basically the same as the daily lessons in terms of length, format, and content. And honestly, that's sort of it for the core Mondly program. You work your 5-minute daily lesson, get your review and performance recap, and then you're free to do other lessons in the geolocation pins on the map based on topic. Okay, so that's Mondly. Now let's talk about Rocket Languages. So the Rocket program is very different from Mondly. Their entire program is built on audio lessons. To start each unit, you listen to an audio exercise which is about 30 minutes long. In this audio exercise, an English-speaking moderator will guide you through a conversation in the language you're learning sort of step by step. You'll listen to a sentence or two, or sometimes even just a phrase, and then the moderator will pause to explain what's going on, what you just heard, and have you engage in the conversation by answering questions and repeating phrases. And while you listen to the audio exercise, a rolling transcript plays underneath the controls where you can follow along and see how words are spelled. Then, after the audio lesson, you review and reinforce what you just learned through a variety of drills and exercises. These reinforcement drills include listen and repeat type drills, flashcards, quizzes, and a cool exercise where you reenact the underlying conversation from the audio lesson by playing the part of one of the 2 fluent speakers. That's actually my favorite of the bunch. However, that's just the main portion of the Rocket program. The other part of each learning module are language and culture lessons. In these lessons, Rocket gives an in-depth explanation about specific grammar rules touched on in the audio lesson. These break down relevant grammar that you need to learn with short explanations, examples, and some visuals. The main point of these shorter grammar lessons is to explain the structural differences between English and the language you're learning. Plus, Rocket also throws in some important cultural points as well in these lessons, which is kind of cool. And that's more or less Rocket. Audio lessons backstopped by reinforcement drills and some detailed grammar and culture lessons. But from a 10,000-foot view, that's how these two apps compare. The big takeaway here is that Mondly and Rocket Languages are very, very different in their approach. Rocket places a big focus on learning via detailed audio lessons, and generally speaking, has longer overall lessons, while the Mondly lessons are much shorter and more rapid fire with a series of hands-on drills. And by the way, if you want to see examples of the lessons or drills from both companies, make sure to check out that full detailed written comparison that I mentioned. I'll have it linked down below in the description for you. I have screenshots and examples over there so you can get a better feel for what to expect. Alright, so before we get into my pros and cons for each program, let's quickly talk about pricing and cost. So Mondly has 3 different packages to choose from. There's a 1-month pay-as-you-go package, a 12-month subscription, and a lifetime access package. The pay-as-you-go 1-month subscription costs $10 per month. The 12-month subscription costs $48 in advance for the year, or in other words, $4 per month when broken down. And for the lifetime package, it's a little fuzzy on MSRP. It really seems to depend on current sales. Full retail, it supposedly costs a few $100s, but you'll rarely, if ever, pay that. You'll almost always be able to find that lifetime package for around $100 or so with a coupon. Now, Rocket Languages does things very different from Mondly when it comes to pricing. They don't do the subscription model. Rocket only offers one-time purchase lifetime plans. You buy the course and own it forever. These lifetime Rocket packages range from around $150 to $450, depending on how many levels you want to purchase. So in terms of cost, it's kind of hard to compare these 2 apps as Rocket doesn't do the subscription model. In looking at just the lifetime plans though, Mondly is a little cheaper if you can find one of their standard sales, but what I'll say here is that Rocket is really aggressive with running sales and discounts of their own, and you can usually knock 50% or more off, so do make sure to check for coupon codes before buying. In fact, to make things easy, I'll actually toss any current discount codes and links that I can find for both companies down in the description for you, so make sure to check out that text below the video screen before buying. You might be able to save yourself some coin. Okay, so now that we've covered pricing and discounts and how each program works, let's get into what I like and don't like about each app. And let's start with Rocket Languages. So the biggest advantage for Rocket Languages is their audio lessons. Like I said a couple minutes ago, these audio lessons are the backbone of the program and what really differentiates Rocket from Mondly and most other language learning apps. These audio lessons offer a ton of value in my opinion. They're engaging, detailed, and do a great job of getting you to think under pressure and verbalize what you're learning, sort of like how you'll have to in the real world. One issue with Mondly is that they don't have any significant listening or speaking exercises like Rocket's audio lessons. And to me, this verbalization and listening practice is about the most effective way of internalizing a new language and becoming comfortable with it. And one of the coolest parts of the Rocket audio lessons is that when you're done, you can then play the underlying conversation from the lesson without interruption and play the part of one of the 2 speakers. That is a really useful feature. Okay, so the next point I want to talk about is grammar. And when it comes to grammar, Mondly doesn't really give it much coverage. Rather than giving you direct grammar instruction, they kind of let you figure out grammar more intuitively by working all those little interactive drills. That's fine, and there is merit to learning more organically like that, but frankly, I prefer how Rocket does it. They take a more direct approach to their language and culture lessons in each unit. Like I already said, in these lessons, Rocket dives deep into a specific grammar principle through short explanations, examples, and graphics. To me, these grammar lessons were really helpful for better understanding structural differences in the languages, and I really like Rocket's straightforward approach. And lastly, my final pro for Rocket here is just the comprehensiveness of the program. When you're in each program, Mondly and Rocket doing lessons each day, it's clear that the Rocket framework is just way more robust and goes deeper. You've got detailed audio lessons, a nice variety of post-audio drills like flashcards and quizzes, language and culture lessons, and some bonus tools like language survival kits and leaderboards. I don't want to throw shade on Mondly here because I do like their program, but it's just sort of fundamentally different. The Rocket program is simply deeper and more immersive. It just feels more like a full academic language course, while Mondly is more like a fun learning tool, if that makes sense. Anyway though, that's Rocket Languages and where I think they've got the edge over Mondly. So now let's get to Mondly's advantages. But before I get to that, I do just want to mention that every single month here at Test Prep Insight, we actually give away a free language learning course to one lucky person. Super simple to enter. Everyone out there is eligible. I'll put all the details down below in the description on how to get entered, but just know it takes like 10 seconds and hey, you never know. You could win yourself a totally free subscription to Rocket Languages or Mondly. Alright, so back to Mondly's pros. And the biggest thing that I really like about Mondly's program is their setup with their lessons. They are fun, fast-moving, and very engaging. Lessons take just 5 minutes and they just fly by. I mean, this can be a good thing or a bad thing depending on what you're looking for in your program, but for a lot of people, these short, bite-sized lessons are perfect. Plus, the exercise variety is really nice. Some language apps use boring and repetitive drill types that get old, but Mondly uses a really nice mix of drills that keeps things balanced and engaging. Like I just rattled off a minute ago, you've got flashcard drills, fill in the blanks, speaking exercises, translation prompts, matching pairs, back and forth dialogues, spelling drills, and a few more. It's just a solid blend of hands-on drill types to engage with. So bottom line, I appreciate how fast-moving and interactive Mondly's lessons are. Okay, so the other big highlight of the Mondly program that I want to talk about is the review function. So this shows up in two different ways. For one, there's a quick recap at the end of every lesson, and for two, there's a standalone review tool. So first, when you complete one of their 5-minute lessons, Mondly will quickly run you through a review session where they recap each word or phrase that you just learned in that unit. There's usually around 10 to 15 new key phrases, and Mondly will run you through them in like 20 or 30 seconds. It's a very good way to drive home what you just learned. Then the other function is this cool little brain feature where you can go back and review related vocab and phrases whenever you want. There's these little clusters of related phrases that are grouped together on the brain to make reviewing easier, and I kind of like that. It's not my absolute favorite review tool among apps in the language learning space, but it's useful, and Rocket doesn't have a similar feature. Alright, so that about does it for the detail in this comparison. So let's get to my final verdict. Which app should you choose? Honestly, between these two companies, unless you need the shorter, more bite-sized lessons from Mondly, I would go with Rocket Languages. They are definitely one of my favorite language programs on the market. I don't think it's even close when looking at the scope or detail of the two programs side by side. Rocket's program is just much more in-depth and well-rounded with their audio lessons, detailed grammar lessons, and reinforcement drills. But because of this difference in program structure, I actually do think these two apps would complement each other pretty nicely. If you wanted to use Rocket as your mainstay learning program and do a couple full-length lessons per week with them, and then fill in the gaps with Mondly day to day, that could be a powerful combo. But at the end of the day, if I had to pick just one, I would go with Rocket Languages. But anyway, that's all I've got for you. I hope this video has been helpful and you learned a little something about both of these companies. If so, make sure to return the favor by subscribing to our channel, liking this video, and dropping me a quick comment below. That would be really appreciated. And again, if you want to see that full, detailed written comparison that I mentioned earlier in this video, just hop on over to our website, testprepinsight.com, or check out the other videos on our YouTube channel. We got a bunch of great video content out there. But as always, thanks for watching, best of luck, and I'll see you in the next one.